Hey, Medicareville. We are live in Stephenville. And I got the infamous, the one, the only Miss Emily Trevino on with me today. The master of business down there in Houston. And my girl, she's my girl, so don't you dare be trying to take her from me.
My girl.
So welcome to Medicareville and our live. We are actually going live into 3 stations today, which I've never done. I'm starting to get used to this tech stuff. So we're live in Medicareville, live on LinkedIn, and live on YouTube right now. So you can catch us in 3 places. Because I think what we're talking about today is really fun, cool, great information, especially if you're newer in the business and are struggling a little bit, trying to figure out how to get all the money in place to really grow. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, is how to use other people's money to grow your business. Now, Emily originally taught on this in our women's group Club Win. So we did this a couple of months ago and I actually wasn't there for it. I was on the road and I went back and watched it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, everybody needs this information, not just our ladies group. So we're going to share it with you. But if you're wondering about Club Win, these are the kind of things we do in Club Win that you can get access to on this stuff weekly. So Emily, how are you today? Anyways, how's Houston? Are you like 145 degrees down there?
It is really hot and humid. Actually, it's kind of funny because, as you know, but the viewers don't know, I was trying to do my hair in here because I did it before I left, but it looked so crazy by the time I got into the office. And it's not doing what I needed to do. So
I don't feel bad. Mine never does what I needed to do.
I'm just sitting here playing with it like, oh man, this just looks so bad. But okay, whatever. It's humid. That's what happened.
Tony Werman in the house.
What's up, Tony?
Austin, I bet, is like 140 degrees too. I know Stephenville, we were 113. I think it was yesterday or the day before. It's just nuts. My tomato plants finally got 4 tomatoes on it when we had like a cooling trend for a couple hours. And now they're all this like,
Well, with inflation, at least you're growing your own tomatoes and save you like a couple dollars there.
Well, no, actually it didn't, because I have 3 plants that I bought and there's 4 tomatoes, but they kind of all just died at the same time. So I think I actually lost $12 instead of saved it.
Oh. That's not good.
It's too hot.
Too hot to grow a garden.
Well, hey, Nancy, welcome.
I love Nancy, by the way. She's really good.
Awesome. So, Emily.
Yeah.
Everybody likes to use other people's money.
Yeah.
So, what exactly?
They like the idea of it. They just don't know what that is. They're like, oh, I got to get a loan from my friends and family. I mean, I guess you could, but the thing is, it's not something that I really understood until I got a business coach. And plus, I'm very independent, so I don't want to borrow money from nobody, But it's actually a very common business concept. There's a lot of wealthy people who have grown businesses by being in debt. And there's good debt and bad debt. I'm not talking about the debt where you go and buy TV screens and Louboutins and Chanel handbags, okay? And that's usually where people get in trouble, on the debt side of it. And so using other people's money is really important if you want to grow your business a little bit faster.
Well, I know for me, like, I had to get creative. We talk about how my husband was deployed and how I didn't buy leads because we didn't have the cash flow. But, when I first started the kitchen table, it wasn't a thing. But when I decided, I'm like, this kitchen table thing isn't working for me. I need to be in some sort of like office setting. Mm-hmm. And then, so I did that. I found something really inexpensive. But then when I did that, we started booming immediately. And now I had to start hiring staff. But it was like, I'm brand new. I have no renewals. I have no real steady income coming in. How am I going to pay for staff? So I know for me personally, I had to get creative, do some creative financing. Mm-hmm. Hey, Miss Grace in the house. Hola, chicas. Hola.
Chica bellas.
Good morning, Facebook user. I don't know who you are, but I think knows Emily. Because the name's not showing.
Oh.
But I got creative. I did a few different things, and we'll get into that in a bit. But what is say, okay, you're brand new and you need to buy leads, and you have no cash to do it. How would you do that?
So let me just tell you something right now. If I'm brand new and I need to buy leads, I'm only buying it if I am going to do whatever it takes. Meaning I don't got nothing left to go. This has got to work or I starve. When you are looking at investing money into your business, you kind of have to have that mentality, because then when you know you're going to do whatever it takes, it removes all doubt that you can't do it. Okay. So I'll give you an example. This is what I would do if I was brand new. My upline I work with Pete Fournier, right? And he created this lead program for people. But people get nervous because they're nervous to spend $1,000, $2,000 in leads, especially if you don't have the money, right? But if you know and you have the attitude that I am going to do whatever it takes, then you know that when you buy the leads, you're going to close and you're going to make your money back. But it's just really scary to do that because you never had to do that before. Most people are coming into this business come from a steady paycheck where they were getting paid to show up. But now you got to invest what little you do have and hope that it works. But having the mentality of I hope it works is not I'll do whatever it takes. Okay. So to answer your question, if it were me and I were brand new, I would probably get a credit card. And I know that scares people, but I would get a credit card with points, something that you're disciplined with, 0% interest. There's a bunch of 0% interest cards right now that are available for people. I would do that. I would buy my leads week by week, and I would make that payment every week as soon as I get paid. So like if you're in the life game and you buy leads week 1, you get paid the next week, you pay it off and you keep rotating it. That's how I would do it if I was brand new getting into insurance in life and health. That's the play that I personally would make today.
So I'm going to throw a curveball at you with this theory because I know somebody's going to ask. So I'm brand new, I'm in this business, and probably part of the reason why I'm jumping in this business is because whatever I'm doing now is not working or it's barely working. And I need something real. I want to build something for myself. But because whatever I'm coming from hasn't been the greatest, maybe my credit's not so great. So that, I know it can be problematic with credit cards, but there are some credit cards out there that.
Well, I've been in that position. I started my agency on that. So, okay, let's do that. So what you could do, if you don't have good credit, what I did is you have zero money in your account? I'm like trying to think. I can do one or two things. Number one, you can get those. You need to be building your credit and repairing your credit. There's tons of free information on how you can do that. I do think people need to stop burying their head in the sand, and they need to start repairing their credit so that they can have access to credit cards in the future for business, not for Louboutins, not for Chanel handbags, not for going out to eat, for business. There's a lot of perks on business credit cards that will help you move your business in a different direction and move it a lot faster. So, number one, fix your credit. Number two, there's cards that you can put money down, even if it's $500 and they give you a $500 limit. Then you can start buying some leads like that and building your credit at the same time, right? You can do that. Or if you flat don't have any money and you have no options, you can work out things with some of your uplines on. This is where you have to get really creative here, and you have to do what it takes, right? But you can get with your uplines and do something where they can pre-buy your leads, and maybe and then IOU. Maybe you work as an LOA for an agent or an agency that's looking to do that, so you can build up some cash flow. Those are a couple options.
So, there's those cash loan places, but the interest is really high. I don't know a lot about them. But what if here's a creative, like throwing something out here, like really creative here. So you can go to one of those cash loan places, right? Maybe get $500, $1,000. Take that, go buy one of those prepaid credit cards. So you're using their money on a credit card.
Yeah.
And you're saying pay it off weekly. So if you're selling life insurance, which pays you pretty quickly, right? And then you could take your first check and then go pay the cash loan off first because it's got stupid interest, right? And then your second check, because the credit card gives you 30 days. So then maybe the second check you can start putting towards that credit card. What do you think of something like that for somebody who's really struggling? Because there's people out there that truly
if you're really struggling and you need to get some cash, here's my deal with these advanced paycheck places, okay? Number one, it's pretty obvious where they're located in town. They're targeting a certain clientele. And once you get going with them, it is so hard to pull yourself out if you do not pay it back in full, like quickly. Okay. And there's this whole business model behind it. I'm completely against the model because just because you can doesn't mean you should. But it's there to help serve people, but I just feel like it can really put somebody in a bad position if you are not disciplined to handle it, right? But yes, if you needed to go do that to get yourself into a position to get leads, then yes, I would do that as a last resort, to be honest, because the interest is high. And yes, your credit card gives you 30 days to get going, but that prepaid credit card, you got to prepay it. So let's go back to that scenario, okay? Let's say you get a prepaid credit card with $1,000 and you use $1,000 from the advanced paycheck place. You still have no access to that $1,000 if you don't pay it off on the prepaid credit card. So now what do?
You better be a good closer from the get-go. You better have Pete with you on the ride along to make sure you close it.
It is.
Or Emily on the ride
realistically, it is an option. It would just be better for them to buy the leads directly rather than go through the prepaid credit card because now you're 2,000 behind instead of 1,000. You know what I'm saying? So you're just postponing the inevitable. But I think what I would do is if I were really hard up and I didn't have experience on the business and I was brand new, I would probably look at going to be LOA with somebody. There's plenty of LOA structures out there where they do like a 50-50 comp split, provide leads. There's LOA structures where they can give you an hourly salary and a lower comp and provide leads. But I mean, if you're starting your own business with nothing, then you have to look at all your options. And there's nothing wrong with being LOA. I know LOAs that make more money than brokers, So, I mean, for me, I think that would be an option for somebody that just had no cash flow, no experience, brand new. I know that you eventually want to do your own thing, and that's cool, but you really need to look at your options because if you can't get in front of people, then it's really hard. I mean, it's impossible. If you can't get in front of somebody, you can't make a sale.
I know for me, I didn't do the credit card route, but the first avenue I went down, because I actually went down 3. It took me 3 avenues to finally get to 1-year renewals, right? Mm-hmm. And the first avenue I did, I had a nice car, a decent car, because I was working, and so I had a car. And funny enough, it got hit with bad hail one year. And I got a huge check, and I actually just put it on the car. So I had tons of equity in my car at the time. Mm-hmm. So I went to the bank and basically re-pulled out that equity that I put down on it. So the car was still worth what it was worth. And I just kind of pulled out the equity and used that money because a car loan's interest rate, my car loan interest rate was at the time was like 3%. So I'm using 3% money. And then still just had my normal monthly payment on the car note. And that was the first kind of credit thing I used personally. And that basically covered, I had enough equity in it to cover like one employee for 6 months. So I knew I had, and I needed the employee. But I knew I had her paycheck covered over here. So anything I was making over here, I didn't have to delegate to that. I could do something else with that money because I knew I had 6 months, right? And by
Right.
the time I had my first employee, that was about 6 months away from starting renewals, right? And so for
Yeah.
me, that was something I did, kind of my first initial creative financing solution. And then Tony just chimed in too, and he said a HELOC.
I was gonna say a HELOC. Yeah, if you own your own house and you have equity in your house, as you know, most people that are coming into our business are not like, well, there's a lot of people that are young, but a lot of people are older. Like they're looking for a second career. Sometimes they're retiring. If you have an equity in your house, you can pull out cash from there. You can refinance, or you can do the HELOC and pull out cash that way. So you can pull out the equity. Same thing as what you're talking about with the car, although a house tends to hold their value a little bit better than cars do. So that would be an option. And a lot of people do that to start businesses. A lot of people do it to have liquid cash for investment purposes. It's a pretty good option, I think, if you have someone that owns their own house. And even if it's only like $5,000 or $10,000 or, whatever, if it's something to help you get your business started, then that's an investment.
Oh, for sure. I mean, because if you're serious about this business, a lot of times you just need that first stepping stone, right?
Right.
You just need the initial little bit of cash to do whatever it is you need to do, whether you're going to buy leads, whether you need to invest in some systems, some computers, some systems like that, whether it's to do some grassroots thing, maybe it's for advertising. I mean, there's so many needs as a new business owner, and even as a business owner that's been in the business a long time, we do things every day that requires cash. So for somebody new, it's a great way to, come up with a kind of a creative solution to get your hands on some cash that you can, do something in your business for that maybe you would have had to wait a year to do it. And now you're a year behind where you could have been if you're willing to take kind of that leap of faith.
And it's not just about people being new in the business. It's also people in the business that are like, oh, I'm getting by, but I don't have the money to produce the numbers I want for AEP, or I don't have the monies to, produce what I need to do because I need 20,000 in mailers, not 5. You know what I mean? So it's not even just about being new. It's like when you're accessing other people's money, you're looking at every option you have. Lines of credit through your business from your banking accounts, HELOCs, equity, liquid cash, personal loans, credit cards. You're looking at how many different options you have in other people's money, creative financing or creative options with your uplines and I hate calling them uplines and downlines because at the end of the day, we're all partners. We're all kind of somewhat business partners. So you have to look at it from that perspective too. But it's not just about being brand new in the business. When you need your business to move forward and you're restricted by the cash flow, you need to start thinking of ways that you can access cash so that you can start dumping more money into your business. Because, and I gave this example to somebody, let's say you're a Medicare writer and you have $5,000 to put towards whatever marketing you do to help you yield 20 applications. Let's just say that that's what you got out of $5,000. Okay. For AEP, our annual enrollment season. Well, if you were able to for every $5,000, you could write 40 apps. What if you had $10,000 and now you have 80 apps? And then you have that additional income coming in come January that you can now fuel for January, for your first quarter of the year. You know what I mean? Because now you're moving yourself into a more scalable, faster position because of you're finding cash that you could dump into the same things that works. Now, what I would not do is I would not go get cash to test out a bunch of stuff. Like I wouldn't get as a new user a HELOC and use everything I have to test out a bunch of marketing companies. And no, I'm using other people's money to add fuel to the fire that's already burning pretty high. Does that make sense?
Oh, that's a great point. Why don't you say it again?
I would only use other people's money to add fuel to the fire, meaning I'm adding cash to what I know works. So like for you, Rebecca, for me, we've started putting in a lot of sweat equity, a lot of our own time. We didn't have to use a lot of cash because we went and did grassroots marketing, which is an option. Working your warm market, doing grassroots marketing, getting your name out there, stuff like that. But when we started realizing like how much more we can do, we started dumping more money on those same efforts. We were able to get more in production, right? But I would not go and invest on webinars if I've never done webinars using my credit card if I'm struggling or I'm tight. Now, as you grow your business, you will have to eventually start trying things and testing things because that's what marketing really is. There's no, well, this works, so just go do that and it'll work forever. That does not happen anymore. Like marketing is constantly testing things. So you'll get to a place in your business when you have the funds to have a marketing budget that you can actually, okay, this is how much I want to allocate to testing new ideas and seeing if they work because your new fire is being built over here. You know what I mean? But your other fire is still burning bright. Does that make sense? I don't know.
Oh, it totally makes sense. And you know, on the grassroots side, because I started there, you started there, and I hear a lot of times new agents like, well, I don't have the money to even do that little event, or I don't have the money to drop flyers. And I always preach and tell my agents and people, be like, you need to get your carriers involved. There is somebody else's money right there that's not yours, that is just waiting to be taken and used to sell their product.
Yeah.
And you are really great at negotiating carriers. So dig into that a little bit for us.
Well, I believe in partnerships. So I think that when you have a do whatever it takes attitude, that you're willing to partner with people, you have to live up to your end of the deal, but you also want to have a unique opportunity, right? So like, I don't just go to carriers like, can you pay for this? Can you pay for a mailer? No, like it needs to be stuff that works, that you know that works. Like, hey, I'm going to a senior event. There's 100 seniors and I don't know, like there's just some kind of value add there to where you can get that carrier's name out or their brand or whatever, that there's an opportunity for enrollment there. Sometimes it's a long term. So like, for example, we do Medicare seminars. We partner with some of our carrier partners here. I know Christy's doing it in Louisiana as well. You know, it's a long-term game, but they know, and they're willing to invest in helping people. So they will help you. Sometimes carriers have leads for you as well. Sometimes they're looking for warm bodies to stick in retail opportunities or to cover events that get bailed on. When you really want to be a partner, you are there you just say yes whenever they need something. When a carrier is like, hey, I have a HEB event, the agent can't make it to, can you make it? Yes. Yes, we'll get there. Hey, I have a recruiting event. Can you come talk about this or that? Yes. I'll be there. You know, that is what partnership is when somebody can rely on you in a pitch. I've had people who called me that I'm not contracted with. They're not contracted with me, that run little agencies that are like, hey, can you just jump in on our sales meeting? Not that it necessarily benefits me, but if they need me to speak about something, I'll do it for 10 minutes just to kind of, you know, you always say yes, you always get out there, there's always an opportunity. And in doing so, people remember that kind of stuff, and they're going to remember you when there's an opportunity out there. So working with carriers, though, you need to have a unique opportunity. Don't come in with like an entitled approach, like you owe me money. Like, don't do that. You know, just be friendly, go to their meetings, engage in their webinars, ask questions, you know, set yourself apart from the other 500 agents in your market that don't ever call them. Call them, invite them for coffee, see what's going on in the market. Hey, you have any new doctors? You're on Medicare. If you're working with life carriers, it's a little different. They're not as much like that. Your IMO usually handles all that stuff. So it's a little different than health. But yeah.
I agree. Like, especially if you're newer, go to those carrier trainings at event, even if you actually know what they're talking about. Maybe they're doing a product rollout and you actually read the book cover to cover. Go anyways, get known, introduce yourself, because they'll remember you. And then when you do email them, be like, hey, I want to do this event. I'm expecting this many people and I would love for some help with a mailer. They're going to remember who you were, and you show up, and they're definitely more apt to help support you. And yes, whoever this Facebook page are, always say yes. I have learned in the beginning to just always say yes. I remember there was one carrier, I won't say their name, but they're kind of blue. I live out in the boonies, and they would send me leads. And they would send me leads 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours away. And I would work them, especially as a new agent. I would go work them and usually close them because those people never get handled. People just blow them off. Well, that's too far away. I ain't going to drive that far. If I can't do it over the phone, I ain't going to do it. Bull crap. I went. And they learned it didn't matter what lead they'd send me, I'd work it. And then they would just start sending me more leads, honestly, than I could handle. But it's called showing up. If you're there to support them, they're going to be there to support you. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the deal, though, is when you're looking at partnerships, when you're looking at uplines, downlines, all the lines, like as engaged as you are, if you're actively working with people, if you want to be good partners and you want people to be engaged in your business, you have to work as partners. We work with our downline partners. We work with our upline partners. It's just, you have to look at it as a partnership because there's a benefit if I'm successful, my upline's successful. If my downline's successful, I'm successful. So you kind of all grow together. But I have met agents that are like, I don't want nothing from nobody. I'm just doing my own thing. I don't need co-op. I don't need this. I don't need that. Great. That's cool for you. And that is awesome. You continue to do your own thing. But if you're an agent that wants to grow, that wants to scale their business, that wants to move their business in a certain direction, you're going to need to rely on other people at some point in your career. There's not one successful person that got all the way to the top by themselves. Not one. Not a one.
Amen.
In some form or fashion. And, that's the deal is people need to stop being so tunnel vision and be a little bit more open-minded about what's available to you and how you can actually move your business in the direction you want to do it in and see who can help you do that. So
I think this is all part about not just being insurance agents or salespeople. This is about business and being a business-minded person, right?
Yeah.
Some of us get so tunnel vision on just maybe making the sale, but there's a bigger picture out here when you're actually trying to grow a business. And there are so many avenues. I know for us, we were about a year and a half in now, and I needed another employee. An employee is like the hardest thing, right? When you're growing, because that is guaranteed outgo every week to pay for your staff. You can't pay for your staff, your staff's going to leave you. So that's a problem. And so by now I was a year and a half in. My LLC was fully contracted. I'm an official business, and I had a P&L report now for a year. So I was able to personally take that P&L report and go to my local bank, and I negotiated a line of credit, which I really liked. Because I could use it and then pay it back and then use it again. So it was like this loan that was just open-ended. But as long as I used it and paid it back and used it and paid it back, I always had money in there to funnel when I need it. And generally what would happen as the years went on until it was about 3 years in, I could pay the first 9 months of the year with what our sales were or what our renewals were. But then that last quarter got tough, right? Because any new sales that actually hit in the last quarter were pennies. And then we didn't actually get paid until January. So I noticed there was a trend. I was good for the first 9 months of the year, but it was that last quarter. I needed marketing money. I wasn't going to get paid for 3 months. So that line of credit was golden for us to really have that flexibility of having the money there when we needed it without having to go requalify and redo this and redo that. What are your thoughts?
A lot of people don't really understand line of credit versus like a business loan. So with a business loan, as you're paying it down, it's over once you paid it off. You don't have access to it. Again, you have to reapply again. And so that's why sometimes you'll see people get business loans and depending on their interest rate, they'll just make minimum payments and not really trying to pay it off because they're trying to keep that capital in house. Ultimately, you're trying to keep as much cash as possible available so that you can do the things that you need to do in your business. lines of credit, I think, are actually pretty awesome. They have their own, pros and cons to it, but the good thing about them is that you will have access to it as you pay it off. You'll continue to have access to it. So I really like lines of credit. Some people are like, "Oh, I only got 10,000." Who cares? It's 10 grand. Get it. If it's 5
Well,
grand, if it's 2 grand, and you can, as you use it, you can also reapply for a longer, more for in your line of credit. I can't speak today.
And it's not even if it's just 5 grand, but it's 5 grand almost anytime you need it, as long as you're paying it back and using it and paying it back. And if you are using it and you are paying it back and you are using, you are paying back, a bank will give you more just like that. If they see that consistency, they're gonna double it like that if you ask after 6 months or a year. If you're using paying back,
there's people that have business lines of credit strategies built into their business because they're trying to build out their line of credit. It's like the same thing, like the Amex Platinum, right? Because I like business credit cards. I think they're great. They have points. Amex Gold gives you like 4 times the points on your Facebook marketing leads, or not leads.
That's how she travels around the country, guys. She buys enough leads that all her flights are free.
I wish. No, but the thing is like even like the Amex Platinum card, right? It's a charge card, and people are like, oh, it has unlimited spend. I'm like, I mean, kind of, but not really. But it's a charge card. But every week, if you go in and you pay it off, the credit card Amex is like, oh, this person is actively using 10, 20, 50, 100 grand a week, whatever it is. Maybe it's just one, and you constantly paying every week off. Then they'll continue to build up your thing. It's the same thing on line of credit. You can do the same thing with it, depending on who your bank is. So I would definitely go and talk to your banking representative in person, kind of tell them what you're trying to do, and they'll help you.
Yeah, I mean, and insurance is a known business. I mean, anybody that knows anything about the insurance and financial business know that this business is a lucrative business. And as long as you're working it properly and have a business plan, their money's probably pretty safe.
I mean, yeah, but I'll say this, a book of business is not, it's really hard to when you go to apply for loans and stuff like that, because they want like assets, not really, and a book of business not really considered that when you go to apply. So sometimes applying for loans and business lines of credit can be a little harder for insurance agents because they don't have the same valuation for a book of business as they would like a building and all of its contents. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So sometimes it can be difficult for insurance agents.
It helps to have that P&L report. That made a huge difference for us.
Yeah. But also too, Small Business Administration, the SBA, they have SBA loans. People were like, when during COVID, look, there's an opportunity for people and they didn't even take it. Could have got a PPP loan for like 2% interest rate, and they were giving out money like crazy. And there was agents that are like, I'm not taking that money. Okay, we love that for you. But we did, and we bought a book of business with it. And then we were able to leverage that to get more co-op and marketing opportunities. And then we qualified for like retention bonuses, all kinds of stuff because I took advantage of an opportunity, which is a loan. It's not like they handed me the money. I have to pay it back. You know what I mean? But people are just they listen to people that are not in business. They listen to all these people like, you don't want to get all that. I mean, people gave me such a hard time for that. Even my husband questioned it for a minute, and I was like, no, I'm getting it. I'm going to get what I qualify for, and I'm going to use it for good to help grow my business during the pandemic. And we did, and it really set us up. The pandemic year was not a bad year for us. It set us up for great 2021 and 2022. So you have to look at opportunities and start networking with people who are like-minded to understand what that opportunity could yield for you.
I took it too, for the record.
I don't care. I mean, I don't know why anyone wouldn't take it.
Took it. I used it. It's fantastic. Yeah.
No, there's people that went out there and took it and went and bought Ferraris. Like, no. Again, that's the thing I'm talking about. Like, here you have access to a loan that can help you grow your business, and you chose to go buy a Ferrari when you know damn well you can't even afford an oil change for the dang thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's not discipline, right? Like if you have the money, invest it into your business so that your business could have bought you the oil change for the Ferrari that you now own.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you
Yeah.
have to live within your means. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't realize that in my 20s, so I like spent like crazy. So I've been there, done that, and I'm learning now, but you know what I'm saying?
Yep. Yeah, I use it again for staffing. I mean, I think that's pretty much I always use my lines of credits, my car advances, things like that. The one thing I always use that stuff personally was for staffing and marketing.
Yeah.
You know, if you
I don't
market,
feel like we do that. I feel like we do it more for marketing than staffing, but it all comes from the same thing at the end of the day, right?
well, I figure if you're marketing and you got more leads, and you better have more staff to handle the leads, right?
Yeah.
Hello, Marilyn from Fort Worth. We'll see you next week at 8%, I'm sure. Come have a drink with us. Yes, Facebook user, the Blue A carrier is great for expansion counties, and I get the living there for 10 days at a time. Tony Werman, how important is obtaining a DUNS number? Oh, this is great, Emily, because I have tried to access mine and they keep saying I'm not who I am, and I can't figure out how to actually link it to myself where I can get into my profile.
Okay, so a DUNS number is really great because, well, for those who don't know, a DUNS number is like a social security number, like from a credit perspective for your business. So you can access loans and stuff like that without a DUNS number. You already have a DUNS number. If you have an LLC, yeah, you likely already have a DUNS number and you may not know it. Just Google DUNS number and go to their website. I think it's important to have. Do I think you can be absolutely successful without it? Sure. But I do think it's nice to have because you can build your business's line of credit. They also have programs like you can do it yourself, or I think you can pay them like $1,000 or something, and they start building that credit for you, your credit profile, so that you, instead of you using your personal credit, you actually would be able to leverage your credit from your business. So it's not like it's like tied to you per se, but it is. Does that make sense? So, like for example, I have a drop shipping store on Amazon and Walmart, and I did a DUNS number, and I was able to get more of a credit line with Amex. Weirdly, I was just like really shocked. It was my first time going that route, so I was able to do that, and so it was fine. But you can definitely get in the business without a DUNS number, but considering most people don't even know what that is, but I definitely think that more that you build your credit history for your company, I think it's better. Also, too, if you have a good, and this is another thing that people don't realize, if you're going to build your business to have an exit strategy where you sell, having all this stuff lined up and having access to a line of credit and all that stuff, that actually gives you a little bit more of a valuation, if you will, than if you like were a total mess. You know what I mean? Where you have like nothing. So, like for example, I know someone that sold. I know this sounds kind of crazy, but she had like a donut shop, and she sold her donut shop for a lot more because she had a line of credit that she could have access to, and she had lines of credit with her vendors. Where some of the other donut shops that were being that this person was buying, they were buying for a lot cheaper because they didn't have access to that kind of capital. So anytime you can give a new business owner capital that they can use to like clean up the business or whatever, it's worth something. How much, I don't know, but it is worth it.
So when you have an LLC, you get a TIN number, and then the DUNS number is different than the TIN. So I always kind of reference the TIN number as kind of the social security number for the business, and we use that at the banks and stuff too. So, yeah. and I've been on the duns.com, and like I said, I can't get them to admit that I actually own that business, so they won't give me access to it. I haven't got through to them. But using a TIN versus a DUNS number, like, what's the difference there?
I'm not really quite sure, because sometimes we have both. The DUNS number is just giving you a healthier credit profile on your business than your TIN or EIN number, because it's just registered different. That's my understanding. I'm not a DUNS expert. Okay. That's my understanding of what it is, and we have it, and that's it. So you can go to DUNS. Let me see. Let me go see what the website is. Everyone can be like, some people are like, what the hell is a DUNS number? Do I need it? I'm like, yeah. Dun and Bradstreet. Let's see.
Google is your friend on everything.
DMD.com. D as in done. And it's D as in done. N as in Nancy. B as in Bradstreet.com. I don't know. Can you like put it in the link? I don't know.
I bet y'all didn't know this, but Emily can sing. She sings to me every morning.
No, I do not.
She can totally sing. When you see her, you need to make her sing you a song. She can pop a beat off like nobody's business.
D is in dunce. That's right, Tony. I'm a dunce. I cannot sing. I just like the little tunes here and there. I just sing when I'm happy. Everybody's happy when you sing. So,
yada, 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 yada.
Yeah. So anyways, but yeah, I would definitely, yeah, just for clarification though, your DUNS number is not your like social security, like your number, it's your TIN or EIN number is your IRS given number to pay your taxes. DUNS is just to give you some credit history, credit profile.
So here we are.
Oh, yeah, somebody just said that.
The end of July. Mm-hmm. And we all know that means 8% is around the corner. And on the 8% stage, or, maybe in the breakouts or the vendor aisle, there's lots of people that have courses or CRMs or coaching available. And maybe, I've got my new credit card and I got some money on it and I want to invest in myself. I'm going to this conference to invest in me, right? I'm investing in me. And I'm a newer agent. Let's say maybe I've been in the business 2 years. So I kind of know what I'm doing. I'm growing, but yet kind of that next step I'm a little lost on. What would be some recommendations if you're going to a conference like 8% and all these things are being thrown at you? Because I know we can all get a little bit overwhelmed on, oh, I want that and I want that and I want this and I want that. And then you either overbuy and then you don't get to it all and you waste money, or you don't buy anything because you don't know what to choose for yourself and you're afraid of wasting money and not using it.
Yeah, so I think, okay, so there's a couple of things too. Well, first and foremost, you need to identify where your weaknesses are in your business. And you also have to understand that as a business owner and as salespeople, sometimes we get FOMO and we like want to go to all the things and do all the things and everything sounds great. Or we'll hear something and I'm like, oh, my business is missing that. I need that right now. But you got to realize like some things take some time to implement, right? So first off, when you go to any kind of conference, you need to, one, identify where the hole is in your business that you need solving and kind of gravitate towards there. Two, you need to make sure that you're investing money that you'll see an ROI on, right? So like I would be investing in, I don't know if there's like some kind of lead or seminar or something that's going to help me bring clients into my business. Or if you have a business setup where you have employees and teams and you just got to find whatever your problem is in your business. Like we had a problem with technology. So we started like going to things and gearing things towards technology. Then I'm like, okay, great. I got the technology down. Now I need more leads. I need to scale that. So then I started going to the people who are really good at getting multiple leads in through the door. And so now we do that. Then I was like, man, now we hired people and I am not an effective leader. So how do I become a better one? So then I started investing in things related to that. So you have to realize like, just because you have a problem today, you go find the one thing that's going to help you solve that problem, you implement it, then you go to what's my next problem. So before I go to any conference, I would try to figure out what am I hoping to get out of it. And it can't be like, I just need to get motivated. No, you need to like have an actual tangible thing that you can change in your business. Yes, if you need to get motivated, that's good too, but that can't be the one reason why you go to a conference. You know what I mean? You have to meet people, you have to know who to meet. Because like if I'm talking to Rebecca and I'm like, man, I'm having a really hard time with, I don't know, let's just say go high level. And then she's like, oh, I know like 5 people you can talk to that would really help you out with that. So then you can go talk to them. Or let's say I'm like, man, I'm having a hard time with, carrier partners. I don't know how to do that. Oh, come meet somebody that I know. So that's how you like, when you can start identifying problems in your business, when you talk to other agents, they either know the answer or know someone that does. And that's kind of what the benefit is to going to industry related conferences. It's not about going to get recruited or change up lines and I don't even talk about any of that stuff. What it's about is solving the problems in my business, and that way we can grow the business. That's the whole point.
Oh, I agree. I know last year for me, I was having a lot of staffing issues personally. And, I've never ran a business this size before. I've never had this many employees before. This is all new to me. I didn't go to college and learn about this stuff. So I was seeking out specific trainings on more of the business side of thing, on staffing, on culture, on structure. And I found it and I went and just soaked it in, right? Went with the open mind and learned. Oh, and it's been such a game changer. 2022 with staffing has been night and day difference than any other year I've had. So I think that is just excellent advice. Write down the things in your business and maybe even the order you need them in that you're struggling with, and really hyper focus on talking to people that ultimately either A, yes, can answer your question, or B, absolutely send you to the person that can. You asked me about Go High Level. Yeah, I tried it. I know what it is. I can explain a little bit, but otherwise don't ask me a damn thing because it was so far over my technology head. I couldn't keep up with it, but I know people who love it and can and build it, and I can definitely hook you up. But I'm not your girl to actually deep dive with you, right?
But I do understand when people go to these events, like, well, I don't really know what to expect, so I'm just going to go and see. I don't believe in that. Like, that's not a thing for me. Like, I'm going there because I need something. I'm paying money to go to something. I need to bring something back to help my business. Now, there are people, and I have to go back because I said motivation. There are people that need that extra motivation. Maybe they have things going on in their business or they had setbacks and they're just trying to clear their mind. That is a good reason to go to those events. I kind of thought about that and I felt bad.
Well, I think you're a true solopreneur. I think the motivation is key to them because they may not know other insurance agents in the business yet. And so they go there for the camaraderie. And I think that's actually really good for them before AP because it really gets them excited. And then they potentially met a friend that now they can talk on the sidelines with and kind of help keep themselves motivated, right?
Yeah, because like me, you and Victoria, we've met at these events and we stay in touch and we talk on a regular basis and we have little hiccups in our business and speak to each other for advice and we get some clarification that we need. And so even though we're all competitors in a sense, obviously we don't have a limited mindset. We work together on resolving some of those problems. And actually my problem could also be your problem that solves the problem that you didn't realize you had, or when you're like, oh, Emily just went through this, so I'm going to do what they did, So just something like that. And so I do think going there to network and have motivation is good, but I do think wholeheartedly it's really important for people to make sure that they have something tangible in their business they need to fix.
So I think, on this note, especially using other people's money, make your list of what you're needing or what you're wanting. And then on your paper, I think ahead of time, write down what you're willing to spend for this knowledge. And that way you're basically building a budget. So you don't get sucked in. But yes, the right training, the right answer may be there, and you need to be prepared if it's there, if somebody can give it to you, that you may have to buy it or you may have to spend it. But it's usually worthwhile, especially if you know it's already a problem in your business, because if they can fix it before AP gets here, you're going to have AP tenfold most likely by getting the problem fixed.
And also too, just be careful about, like, make sure you have a budgeted amount that you're comfortable with spending, because like what you just said, because the thing is that there's a lot of stuff you can buy, a lot of courses, a lot of things, but you really got to prioritize your cash, because you also don't want to put yourself in a position where you don't have cash to invest in leads. You know what I mean? So you don't want to be in a position where it's going to actually hurt your business because you're investing in yourself. Investing in yourself is its own little line item, and you do need that to grow. But I am of the mindset that, like, hey, like, you don't want to spend everything you have in that one line item. You
still got to run a business. For sure, so absolutely.
I like that budgeting. It's good.
Insurance friends are great. If you don't have one, go and get one. It's amazing. It's like I finally found, after 40 something years, I finally found my people. It's the craziest thing in the world. Who knew?
Yeah, this business is kind of lonely. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes you go to stuff and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how. Like all this self-doubt. They have this new imposter syndrome and all this stuff that gets in your head. And then you're like, oh, I'm not doing this. And then when you go talk to other insurance friends that also have the same struggles, because here's the thing, all these social like influencers and all these people online, like they always talk about all the good stuff, and it's like, man, they don't talk about all the BS behind the scenes. And so sometimes when you're an agent, you're like, man, everything's going so good for them, but for me, I'm stuck here. It's like, no, like they're going through their own struggles too. It's just most people don't talk about it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So just know that you got to get an insurance friend. So you can be like, do you think that they have hard times too? Do you think they have leadership problems?
Oh, 100% they absolutely do. But here's the thing. They're either going through it currently and they're just not outward about it unless you bring it up, right? Or they've been there, done that, and they've solved the problem, but ultimately they did have it, and now they know the answer to it and they can help you with that. I mean, I love my little insurance friend community. I wouldn't change it for the world. It's like, I look at high school and then look to now. I mean, nobody ever feels like they're going to get in the insurance business, right? It's something the career day at school, it should be, but it's not.
Yeah.
But here we are, I'm almost a decade into the business now, 5 years as an independent. And my insurance friends mean everything to me. We're like-minded. We have the same struggles. We bounce ideas off of each other. We get it.
Well,
right?
But let me tell you, you got to be very particular about your insurance friends too, right? Like you can't have the friend that's like, oh, I didn't make any sales today. Oh, I'm going on vacation every weekend. Oh, like you got to have insurance friends that are like you, who are motivated, who can pull you out of a dumpster fire if you needed it. Everyone's going to have ups and downs. Like there'll be days where I'm like super negative and my insurance friends like, Emily, we did this, like do this, or, you know what I mean? Like you need like a circle to hype you up when you're down, but you don't want anyone who's going to bring you down. Those are not the right people. Like, no, don't do it.
You always, when you're looking for your friends, look up. Always look up. Find somebody that's a little bit ahead of you, kind of where you're at or a little bit ahead. You can help the ones that are behind you. But for your circle to grow, you need to be looking forward, and then you can help the people that are coming up behind you. And that's how we create these circles that a Facebook user is talking about. Because we're looking forward to growth. And then as we grow, we want to share that knowledge and give it to the up and coming agents. And, that's how we create this community.
Well, and when you look up too, like those people that are higher up or, making millions in the business, like they don't want to hear about your negative stuff. So they're less likely to want to network with you and hang out with you if you're not like actively like bringing value to them in some capacity, right? Like, so sometimes like I've talked to private equity people before, like they're just so smart. And I'm like, math, you know. I need like I count tips on my fingers, you know, like I need calculators, you know, but they're very like just super intelligent. And so when you're genuinely curious and you're interested, then people like to take a liking to you because you're talking to them about things that are very interesting to them and you're learning in the process, but you're not like interrogating, right? I'm not like, so Rebecca, what do you do? What's your budget for this? How much money do you make? How many apps do you write? I mean, if you come at people like that, it's like it's not even that fun, you know? But if they're like, okay, so how did you like come? Like, how did you get into private equity? You know, like, I don't know. You just have to like talk to people and be genuinely interested. And if you can give them perspectives too, because like, for example, I was talking to this like large IMO, FMO, NMO, whatever though it is. And like they didn't realize like what some agents are looking for help on. They're like, oh, well, we don't offer that. And I'm like, I know. It's weird. You know, but
I don't you.
they get a perspective that they didn't have. And they're like, oh, we need to change it. Because whenever you're in your lane, you kind of when you like if you're a solo entrepreneur right now, one day you know like you know all the benefits, all the products, all the nuances, all of that. But one day when you have a team of people and you're not actively selling all day because you're generating leads and marketing and technology and running a team, you're going to be a little rusty on the product. You know what I mean? And you're not going to be like that person. And so it's like the same thing. Like as you get higher in the business, you're kind of disconnected from some of the other parts of the business that you used to be really good at. So you always want to be talking to people from all ranges so that you get good insight about how you grow your business. Like you don't want to make it to the top and then never talk to anybody below you. That's not helpful because I learned all kinds of stuff from like first year agents. I'm like, oh, I didn't think to do that. That's a good idea. Oh, that's different. You know what I mean? So you should talk to everybody. But you grow with your inner circle, and those people need to be doing higher level stuff too.
Okay, we're at the top of the hour. I know your time is valuable. I want to keep you all day, but I do want to touch on this before we get off. So we're home from 8%. We're motivated. We're focused. And we want to kill our AAP. We want to bang it out of the park. Give me 3 ways I can get some cash flow right now and the 3 things you invested in to make my AAP bang up.
Right now, okay. 3 ways that you would get money to invest in leads. Like you made me panic there. I didn't know you were going to ask me like this fire question. I'm like a little like now I'm anxious.
I'm gonna get 3 sources of money, and I want to invest it in 3 sources of money of some sort for AP to
3
double
sources of money. If I'm a new agent, I would definitely talk with either my upline partners or the carriers. That's first and foremost, is the most important one. Second, I would access a credit card if I can, or I would do some kind of creative financing with my upline of some kind. That's just the easiest way to get cash. Because loans and lines of credit take some time. So that's what I would do. I'd also maybe explore the HELOC because that could go a little bit faster than some of the loans out there. So.
And then your 3 marketing strategies?
My 3 marketing strategies is I definitely would do grassroots marketing to get my name out. And then I would probably for AAP because mailers are a lot better in August than I don't know. Like I try to build my funnel before we get to AAP. You know what I mean? So now I'm like panicking. You could buy leads. I would work with carriers on opportunities. What events do they have going that you can plug into? A lot of times they have leads, so you could offer to be there to go in and into their offices or call on their age leads. Those are always really good because most agents don't call those enough. Yeah, I don't know. That's what grassroots. That's just what I would do off the top of my head.
Well, I'll throw another one out there. If you're techie, maybe invest in some sort of social media marketing. Lead gen that way.
Yeah. Like if you can do Facebook ads
it's like
or
instant,
YouTube
right? Or people instantly every day.
Yeah.
So grassroots, mail drop leads some sort, and then potentially social media.
And ask around, ask people in like some of these groups, like, what did y'all do for mailers and stuff? I just know this, like anytime I've done mailers before AEP, I've gotten a lot better of a response than my mailers that were in AEP.
Mm-hmm.
So, because remember what you're competing with, and also this is an election year. There's like, it's not like we're voting for president, but it's kind of a big one, a big election year, and so you're competing with all of that traffic and stuff. So it's like you really have to do something. I would be starting right now. Let me just tell you that right now.
For sure. And here's another one for anybody that has a brick and mortar type, whether it's big or small. You probably already have signage up, which is great, but you can go rent those really big digital signs on trailers and like put it out by the road in your parking lot specifically for AEP. And be, Medicare here or ACA here, and keep it really simple and flash, and you'll get walk-in. We do it and we get like walk-in. Oh, I didn't even know you're here. I'm like, really? I've been here for 5 years and my sign's right there. How'd you not know? But for some reason, that like bright light in their face as they're driving by is like catches their attention, and you'll catch new people just on something simple like that.
Well, and obviously your warm market too, getting it out. Like they'll post like pictures of their dinner, but they won't tell people what they do for a living, like on Facebook or whatever social media. Like tell people what you do, so that you can actually get access to that lead flow. And if you talk about it frequently and often, people are like, oh, I got to call Emily. Like I had a friend from high school that called me to help her dad on Medicare. And I don't even post that much. You know what I mean? So about that, because I do other marketing stuff. But anyways, I digress. So post on there and get your warm market to know what you do. If they don't even know you do sales or Medicare or health or life or whatever, then how do you expect some stranger to know what you do? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. If your neighbor doesn't know, nobody else knows. Trust me. All my neighbors know what I do. They message me all the time.
Yeah, lady said that her broker manager said you can get leads from your FMO and you get free mailings from carriers. You do. Carriers have a lot of like tools and stuff that you can use. Get with your local rep. Sometimes they'll print out those flyers for you. Sometimes they'll do mailers, stuff like that. I'm telling you, those carrier partners, those carrier reps, people are talking mad smack about them, but I love them. They're so nice, so professional.
And I will say this, when it comes to the carriers, they always have more money to spend on duals than they do the other. So if you haven't had much luck, maybe ask for something in the dual market specifically, because they generally have more money to spend there and are a little easier to get your hands on money or flyers for the dual market. We have noticed in years past. Somebody has restricted signs, and sometimes that's true, but it gives you an idea. Maybe you can do a banner, put like a huge banner that you don't normally put up.
We have window cling. We have like a window cling thing, but sometimes there are some companies, management companies, that don't allow any of that. Sometimes you get like a little waving thing that flares your arms like this.
But I think my point is, like, if you have some sort of brick and mortar and it always looks like this, do something to make it stand out a little bit for, the OEP, AEP season, stand out a little bit. Like whether it's a wavy sign, or maybe you hire, some person to dress up like a little lady in a walker and wave a Medicare sign. I don't know what it is, but believe me, I can come up with 14 ideas in the next 15 seconds if we want to do a lightning round, because you just have to be creative. Wavy signs, people holding signs, digital signs, giveaways, donuts and coffee. There's a million things you can do to be different than you were yesterday during AEP to create a buzz.
That's right.
It's 11:05. Emily, I know your day's booked.
Yep.
Thank you so much for having us on Medicareville. Ladies, if you like this kind of content and you want it weekly, check out Club Win. That's Club and Win, WIIN.com, and come check us out. For everybody else, this was on YouTube, Medicareville, and LinkedIn. I would love for you to like it, share it, comment, maybe tag a friend. We would love to help more agents any way we can. And thank you so much. Emily, any final thoughts?
If you're at 8%, come find us so we can hang out and chat, and make sure you find some insurance friends, and come with a purpose. Know what you need help with if you're coming to that. If not, we'll see you around, guys.
Awesome. Looking forward. You know, I'm always up for a drink at 8%, so just hit me up. Love y'all.
Adios.
Uh-oh. It's not ending.